I'm not gonna say what I think. Actually, you know what? I'm just not gonna say it because I don't know yet. I don't know if I can attribute it to that situation, but I feel like some people would start making comments like that ever since he who shall not be named got banned. But let's see what becoming an ANET partner does to a motherfucker. So I'm assuming people are complaining about him. I guess I don't remember Silhouette defending this expansion. I don't watch every single one of his videos, but I thought this might be something of interest to me because I love drama, especially when it comes to the games I play. So let's see.
Know what this means. Like, maybe we've forgotten, and I mean we, like the royal we. I definitely haven't forgotten. But in case you need a reminder, my takes are honest. My takes, whether you agree with them, my takes, whether you disagree with them, are strictly my opinion. And the reason why they might not seem harsh to you, or they might not seem like I'm critical enough, or as I used to be before I became a partner, is because I have watched this studio shit their pants so many times that I am not surprised. And this most recent iteration,
I would agree. Every single expansion, every major patch, not every, but many major patches, you know, it takes a week or two for them to fix stuff. Right? It's at this point, it's like, is there a point being that critical? Like, it's not even critical, it's like being that harsh when you're expecting it. You know, it sucks because it's like, how many times can you actually lose your shit and still be authentic about losing your shit when you know, okay, this expansion is gonna come out, there's gonna be a lot of bugs. This patch is gonna come out, there's gonna be a lot of bugs. Right? They're gonna brick something. It's like, yeah, we know. Are we gonna lose our shit every single time? Probably not. And if you do lose your shit every single time, that just sounds really inauthentic because it's like, bro, like, if it mattered to you that much, you would have quit by now if you have a mental breakdown every single patch, every single expansion. I don't know, man. So I agree with him. I think Silhouette overall is pretty honest. However, I do think he's not too harsh on Guild Wars 2. And again, that doesn't mean he needs to be. If he's authentic and he's honest about how he feels about the game, and some things are just, it is what it is, like, yeah, it sucks, but like, I don't care that much, then yeah, that's fine, right? Silhouette is one of the very few people who I think are mostly, if not completely, authentic about their opinion about stuff regarding the game. Okay? Like, I don't wanna throw names, but like, there are some content creators that like everything is fucking rosy and everything is fucking great in Guild Wars 2 and they never complain about anything because I don't know why. Well, I mean, we kind of know why. But it's like everything is like amazing, right? And it's like, bro, like, how do you, like, what are you talking about? Like, no, not everything's amazing, right? It's like, oh, I just choose to focus on the things that are great. And it's like, yeah, but like, it sucks for all of us here, okay, that don't enjoy the fucking scenery. Just because the scenery is pretty doesn't mean that the content is actually good. Meanwhile, it's like, oh my god, I love the new metas, I love this, oh my god, this is so great, oh, this is so fun, look at all these new specializations. Meanwhile, most people play only one or two characters, right? It's like, it's like, oh my god, I love all 9. I love all 9 elite specializations, they're so good. Like, no, they're not. Some of them are like way over fucking powered, okay? They're breaking the game. PvP has been ruined multiple times because of introduction to new content like this, right? It's like, you made so much shit irrelevant. It's like, why would you play anything except Ritualist for the first couple of weeks, you know? Like, it's like if you play a Necromancer already.
this most recent update is not even the worst one. Maybe
True.
that's why it seems
I
like
agree.
I'm not freaking out or I'm being lenient. The reality is that's what they do. I'm not surprised by it. They've been shitting their pants
Yep.
for 3 years straight with these quarterly updates. They have a good launch and then they shit their pants 3 times in a row. That's the way this content cycle goes. And everybody
I don't think they had a good launch. I'm not gonna lie. I really don't. Like, straight up, it's not a good launch. Well, I mean, what would be considered a good launch? Like, was everyone able to play? Sure, yeah. Like, I mean, like the content that came out. No, not great. Not great.
knows it. I started pointing this out 2 years ago. So it doesn't really matter whether you think I should be harsher or I'm being too lenient or I'm trying to do some partner shit. We'll talk about some of that a little later, I promise you. But I welcome you to the end. A story told in 3 parts like all great stories.
yeah.
And I'll save you all the normal YouTube bullshit like shilling a
Thank
different video in the middle of a video, telling you to like the video and subscribe. 'cause
Amen.
Chances are you already have, right? Like, I mean, let's be honest. But I'll treat
Honestly, like the whole like, there are some content creators that I really don't like watching because of the first like 1 to 2 minutes, right? Where there's like, if you like my content, you know, like, subscribe, go to my whatever Patreon, whatever. And it's like I get it, but fuck right off, man. Like. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, it's just, I'm sick of hearing it, you know, as a viewer. Okay.
you like an actual human instead of a commodity. Welcome to the end.
Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one.
When I was in the military, we had a saying about winning hearts and minds, and it was mostly used as a form of soft power projection. But overall, as Americans, one of the many ways that we use the military is through diplomatic measures. While I was deployed in the South China Sea, we went to various ports and had things called big tops, which were parties that were hosted by us that we weren't invited to mostly like foreign diplomats and dignitaries. But primarily we went to mainland China. We went to India and other places as well, but China was probably the most important one. And anyone who knows anything about the world knows that the United States and the CCP are not exactly friends. So why were we there? Well, by even going there, it is breaking the veil of control. It is easy to convince a group of people that Americans are evil if they've never met them. But when you take a subsect of the population and even briefly allow them to meet, party, eat, break bread with Americans and even American military nonetheless, it is hard to maintain that control and maintain the illusion that we are the enemy or that we're evil when you've met them and you
Basically, exposure therapy is probably one of the best things you can do. Right, this goes for racism as well, right? It's like you don't need to fight racism with all of these, you know, fucking petitions that you're making right now. Just the fact that like kids grow up and they are in school with kids of different colors, they will see that these people are not evil, and won't have biases and be like, oh, my parents are wrong. Because let's be real, rebellious stage will happen with every child, and you will face you will face the point where it's like, okay, my parents are wrong about this and this and this. They're clearly wrong about, you know, people of color. I study with them, I grew up with them, they're fucking great. Okay. So yeah, exposure therapy is probably one of the best ways to go about it. Throwing your ideals at somebody and forcing it onto them usually backfires. Okay, people don't like to be shoved with fucking forcing your opinion on them.
You've seen the generosity, you've seen the kindness firsthand. Now, I say that to say this. My biggest argument to become an ArenaNet partner is giving the studio credibility and breaking that veil of positivity, that illusion that was cast for so many years and years.
Oh my God,
only
please.
people that were let into this inner circle were the ones that were overtly positive and would glaze every move they made. I am a veteran player who actively plays the game, and I've always played this game. I didn't take year-long breaks mistakes. I'm a critic willing to share my thoughts directly about updates and provide real criticism without hyperbole or exaggeration, instead of just glazing the features or the content. And I must admit, I do ham things up for the audience from time to time. You are all here for a show after all, but I have no interest in covering for the mistakes or missteps of ArenaNet, and frankly, I don't think they do either. They're willing to take accountability for the things that they fuck up. Covering the quarter one patch.
Are they willing? I would say they're willing to accept accountability for the things they fuck up that they are willing to accept that they fucked up on. So, for example, the way they do the story in an expansion, not good. Are they ever going to admit it? No. Right? They will never willingly admit that delaying the story with bullshit exploration, doing events and stuff like that is bad for the game and bad for the story. I don't think they've ever admitted, and clearly they don't believe it because we got VOE and we still had that stupid delay. Honestly, probably the worst delay now. I would much rather have a fill the bar than do a random exploration, which, by the way, at that point, I think it's the first 3 days of the expansion, you couldn't even use the add-on to, like, you know, use the API to figure it out. So you actually had to go and look for it. I'm sorry, some people like it, a lot of people don't like it, okay? If I want to explore, I'll explore in my own time. I want to get to the content. I want to do the story. I don't want to forget what the story is, okay? Let's say I'm playing over like a whole week, right? And I'm not using add-ons. And I got to the point, let's say I'm doing my story on the first day. I got to the point where, you know, fill the bar or whatever exploration. And now I have to do it, and because I'm not sure where it is and all that stuff, it takes me a while, and I'm like, okay, I'll do this tomorrow, I'll find another piece, find 1 or 2 pieces the next day, find 1 more piece the day after, find 2 more, 3 more the day after, whatever. It's been a week. All right, we're back to the story. Fuck, what were we doing up to now? I was just like, what was the story again? I don't remember. Why? Because I was doing a fucking stupid collection that I don't even care about. That's what was going on, okay? So yeah, I don't think they learned anything. They're willing to accept critics or criticism on stuff that they're willing to accept criticism on, if that makes sense. Okay, they're not willing to accept criticism on stuff that they're not willing to accept criticism on. Okay, it's not like they're like, we accept all criticism. Like no, they don't. They don't even address it. Okay. In the interview, when they talked about it, they're like, our developers and what do you call them? Like the graphics designer, all that stuff, like map designers, they have spent so much effort on doing these things, and we really want you to go and see them. It's like, great, put an achievement behind that. If I want to go and see it, I will. Let me do the fucking story, okay? Just like, don't guilt trip me over not wanting to explore a zone I have no interest in because somebody worked hard on it. Not my fucking problem. I've already paid for it. You got your money for it, okay? I don't need to go and explore shit that I don't care about. I don't want to go into some weird ass fucking caves inside of the water, get fucking lost, and not even realize that I'm claustrophobic up until that point in the game. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm fucking claustrophobic. I didn't even know that. Guild Wars 2 made me realize I'm claustrophobic, but only in tiny caves inside underwater, okay? Which, by the way, is fucking scary. I would never want to be there. Hivlar, I'm a furry today, apparently. It's Furry Wednesdays. I don't know.
Thing because we're putting a frame on things, but in reality we have been at the end of Guild Wars 2 for the last 3 years. Around 2 years ago, I posted my first criticism talking about the content scene being shit in the Guild Wars 2 space and criticizing at the time the secrets of obscure quarterly updates, a trend that has continued. The game has maybe 3 or 4 patches in the last 3 years that I felt were even close to reflecting affecting the former self that ArenaNet was putting out. But these patches came with a price tag. A single Living World season patch of Season 3 or Season 4 provided more content than many of these paid quarterly expansion patches that we experience today. And that's a fact. But I'm burying the lead here. I'll prove to you that we are at the end.
Okay, before he gets to that, I think this is every MMORPG suffers the same thing when it's like an end of an era. World of Warcraft had it with Wrath of the Lich King, then had it again with basically did it have it again? It kind of had it again with like it had like an era from like Legion to like BFA, which is like whatever, like 2 expansions, right? And then it's like not even, honestly, not really. It's like it was like I guess it was still technically Shadowlands, but Shadowlands really killed it, and like not in a good way, like fucking killed it. But it's like it had an era of like that legendary potential bullshit, right? Or whatever, the AP artifact power bullshit, right? So it's like that was an era, but it's like in terms of story, I think Legion was the end of an era for that story. Final Fantasy XIV had an end of an era with Endwalker. Man, what an ending that was. Fucking great, right? And Guild Wars 2 had it with End of Dragons. The problem is, how do you go from that point of end of an era to like the next big thing? Because right now, Soto. So you think Guild Wars 2 is ending? No. I don't think Guild Wars 2 is ending. I think they are lacking a main story to follow. Because right now, so Soto was basically introduced to you a bunch of like, let's call them good guys, right? Have Isgaren and all that stuff, and like you introduce them, and now we are just going through their history, right? What was Soto? Okay, Soto was just an introduction to Mabon, to Isgaren, and like Dag, and all those characters, right? So in Soto, we just got an intro to them, and we dealt with a problem in Soto. What was, what do you call it? Jantir Wilds. Mabon's history. What is what do you call it? Visions of Eternity. Isgaren's history. And okay, we are discovering this history. That's cool, but we don't have like a like imagine watching this is the difference between watching like Black Mirror and Mentalist, for example. Right, Black Mirror, these are like standalone stories, and it's like you can pick up at any point in like any chapter, and it's just a standalone, and doesn't matter, there's no main plot. Mentalist, you can't just start from season 3 because there are motives behind the character. Even though they don't appear every single episode, there is this constant reminder that it's like, oh, it's about Red John, like he's trying to find Red John, right? Still a lot of things that can be done lore-wise with a game like this. The possibilities are endless, where you can add more and create more. You can. I'm all for it. The problem is that they're not making it. They're making unrelated stories that are related to one point, but they don't have like a general massive story plot going behind them. You know, like we're not exploring the source of the void, right? Like what is the void or the stuff like that. Kind of like they kind of dealt with it in End of Dragons, right? What are we exploring right now, right? Like what? Like I'm not talking about like I want a world-ending event or anything like that. But what is the correlation between Jantir Wilds and Visions of Eternity? There is no correlation, right? There's none, aside from that they both relate back to characters introduced in Soto, right? So it's like, man, I can't believe I'm doing this. Oh shit, I didn't type it right, did I? Okay, I did. Yes. All right, cool. So like, if we take let's do it like this. So this is like End of Dragons, right? So End of Dragons. This is the, core Tyria. We start with the dragons, right? Then it continues. This is Heart of Thorns. Then it continues. This is, Living Worlds, whatever. Path of Fire, right? Icebrood Saga. And then it all culminates basically with End of Dragons, right? what you have right now with the story, okay, you have this. You have Soto. Let's make it yellow because it's Soto. Right, then you have... Here you have John Tier Wilds. Right, and then here you have Secrets of Eternity. So it's like... Its relation has nothing... Like, they're not a continuous story from one to the other. They're all going back into Soto. Like, that is their core... Their core, right? Like, this is where their core story is, right? In Soto. And honestly, let's be real, Soto, not great. So, what it might look like, maybe we're dealing with stuff that have to do with the mists. I don't know, because we don't know anything about anything right now, what's going on, right? Maybe the next expansion is gonna be connected to Soto in some other way. We're gonna talk about ogres or some shit and relate it to Dagda or whatever. Then we're gonna talk about dwarves or whatever, right? And maybe eventually there is a reason we're doing all of this. But right now, because it all keeps bouncing back to here, it all keeps bouncing back to Soto, it's not very interesting. This felt like there's smooth progression going between them. One ending causes another to begin, right? One thing leads to another, and then you have the culmination of the story. Here, it's like one thing resolved, one thing resolved, one thing resolved, one thing resolved. Like, it's just not interesting in terms of storytelling, you know? Like, imagine you're trying to tell the story of The Witcher, but instead of telling it as a progressing story, you do a history lesson on each and every main character. Which is like, that's something that should come after you care about the characters, not before. Right? And right now, how many people actually care about Isgarin and his history? I don't even think Isgarin is very liked as a whole. I don't think Dagda is very liked as a whole, right? I think Mabon was probably like the most liked one because he was such a, what do you call it, a contrarian to belief, right? To common belief. Because we thought whatever his race is called, I forget. We thought that they were evil, but then you have this Mabon guy who is just so good. He's such a good guy, right? And Mabon was probably like the only interesting character, and he died early. Okay, problem intermission. I think it is time for someone to come up with a plot for the next expansion. So if you had control of the story, what would you come up with for the next story that would fit and make sense? Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know enough about the backstory of Guild Wars. However, one thing we do have a correlation to is in Path of Fire when we learned that all the gods left. Can we explore that in a multiple expansion? Find the gods, maybe fight the gods, I don't know, right? Because like we did have Balthazar and we fought a god, right? We didn't really go much more into where the gods went. Well, I guess like, what's his name? The guy that everyone blames talked about it to an extent, but it's like we didn't really explore it. We just kind of talked about it as if it was like, oh yeah, they left. Okay, cool. Right, but I don't know enough about the deep lore of Guild Wars to actually make a good comment about like what should the story lead to next. We have multiple plot holes. One is plots to go after. We have the gods, we have the mists, we have the void, which is, I don't really understand what the void is. It's like all the magic, but also none of the magic. I just, it's like when all the magic combines, that is void, which doesn't make sense because void would be the absence of magic. So, exploring that. But honestly, just mists would be, give us an expansion where we explore a world in the mists. Just give us like 4 zones in the mists that have to do something with something we already can relate to. And when we fuck that up, right, now we have we're opening Mist Invade, which is basically what the rifts are, right? Then you would have the mists invading us, right, and trying to take over. Maybe we lose a key point in the map during that story and we have to reclaim it, right? And it's like you can't access this map until you do this. Like you can't access this map normally unless you do this story. Like, I don't know, man, like some crazy shit. This is fantasy, and this is pretty high fantasy. We have dragons, okay? Just bring aliens. I like it doesn't matter. And honestly, mists are aliens, right? So, but yeah, it's like we're dealing with Doom in one of the raids. By the way, the raids don't even correlate to anything you learn in the world. How do we go to the underworld and deal with Doom, but there's no story about the underworld in like an actual story, you know? One thing I know for sure is that they should make new playable race for the next expansion. If I was in charge, I would add stuff like how WoW did it, a new race with each expansion. Like the races don't really matter. Like, I understand, like, from a monetary perspective, yeah, but it's literally just cosmetic because the races don't really matter. Unless what they could do, if they want to add a new race and make it, like, feel like something, they would change these things. Right? They would change these cool things. To maybe give it like a valid build variety, to make it like a valid option. Because right now, why are they there? And then if you add races, then you can play around with that shit, right? But it's like you have to do multiple things when you just do race. Otherwise, it's just a cosmetic. And yeah, I'm sure people want to play as the birds from EOD, right? Like that has been a race that's been around for forever, right? Technically, probably should be a race by now. But yeah. All right, let's see.
Proof is an important part of any argument. Why should you listen to me? That is the whole purpose of introductions. My name is XYZ, and I'm a mentor at XYZ Community. I have 12,000 hours played. I'm a PhD. I'm a specialist. They all say one thing: trust me. Every YouTuber does it, but in this case, the proof is right in front of your face if you care to look. When we talk about the end of Guild Wars 2, many people cope and say that we are getting expansions, we are getting updates. Well, this quarter one update,
I agree that is scope. We're like, the expansion we're getting is not even worth its money until like the at least two like DLC patches for it, right? Like right now you got 2 zones, each one has a meta and nothing really else to do aside from like collect cosmetics, collect achievement points, and it's like, okay, cool. Can we get, like, I don't know, something different? Like, it's like it becomes, when you do stuff like this, it is easier for the developers. I agree. But it makes it very boring because you know what to expect. How did John Tier Wilds come out? 2, what do you call it? 2 zones, 1 meta, right? And just a bunch of events, and yeah, and collectibles and appearance, right? And it's like when you're expecting it, you don't have that like wow factor, not like World of Warcraft, but like that like holy shit, I can't believe this is coming. You know, this is the one problem. Now, in my opinion, Secrets of the Obscure at least gave us rifts, and they are pretty much worldwide. That's cool, okay? Aside from like always being in Soto, they also alternate around the open world, so that's cool, okay? But what did John Tier Wilds give us, aside from, yeah, okay, you can use Spear, yeah, that's fine. What did it give us in terms of like content outside of John Tier Wilds, right? What did Visions of Eternity, what does that give us outside of Visions of Eternity, right? Are there mirrors in the open world, or are they just in Visions of Eternity, right? Are there treasures that you can sniff with your Warclaw that are worth actually going for outside the crab? Yeah, they gave us the crab. Gave us you crabbies. Are there secrets inside of John Tier Wilds that you can sniff with your Warclaw that are worth actually sniffing, right? What did we get with that expansion? Because that, in my opinion, that should be the standard for Guild Wars 2 when an expansion comes out. It gives you something that you can use in the other expansions, right? Heart of Thorns gave you Glider. Glider is not exclusive, right? It is, you can use Glider everywhere. Path of Fire gave you the mounts. You can use them everywhere, right? Living World 4 gave you more mounts. Okay, well, one more important mount, okay? What do you call it? I don't want to count the Living Worlds, because whatever, right? EOD gave you the robot, gave you the turtle, right? I'm not saying like these have to be like massive, right? It's like, but it gives you something to play with outside of where you were. And the robot, like the Jade bot, is actually pretty fucking useful. Like you get like what, 7,000 more HP in the open world, which is really nice for people who play open world, you know, like. And also I believe strikes. It applies to strikes too, right? So like it's massive, right? What did Soto give you? Soto became like a quality of life for Skyscale and Rifts. So, you know, not too bad. Jonte Wilds didn't really give you anything. Okay, it improved the amount that you already had. That's fine. Same with Visions of Eternity, but it doesn't feel new. It just feels like, okay, you patched the useless stuff that we were never using in the open world. That's great.
It was light and buggy. We've been running on fumes for the last 3 years. I've called these updates battle passes. I've referred to the studio, or at least this game, being in maintenance mode. I've been preparing you for the end of this game for 3 years now, before I became a partner, after I became a partner. And if you are sad about that, a lot of people are. But where one thing ends, another begins. Because I believe that ArenaNet is not captured by their audience. They are a business making business decisions. And while many people will ultimately give up on the franchise entirely if they decide to release a successor to Guild Wars 2, the reality is they don't have a choice. The earnings for Visions of Eternity have been shown to be lower than a lot of their previous releases.
Yeah.
The content scene of the game via Twitch and YouTube has also drastically shifted from passion and entertainment to purely guide-focused content, tier lists, patch notes, build updates, and even the discourse scene, like videos like this, are very circular. Many of the things that I say today that
Yep. I'm reacting to him talking about the game. Yeah, like that's, yeah, we're getting there.
people agree with were said 4, 5, 6 years ago, and those creators were labeled as toxic, when in reality, they just had a little bit of foresight. They saw where we were headed. Do yourself a favor and YouTube Guild Wars 2 when you're done with this video, of course, and you will see a lot of people trying to funnel new or prospective players to their referral links to the game, and I can't blame them. What else is there to do? I'm guilty of it myself. Our build guides, passion projects, our tier lists, passion projects, our gold making guides, passion projects. In my opinion, no.
Excuse me. My Zero to Legendary is a passion project, okay? I love efficiency, and I want people to be efficient. I want them to be less confused when they start shit, okay? And there's no links there to anything, okay? I just wanted to share the knowledge I gained from the couple of years at that time that I had about the game, and how I would go about things if I started brand new, okay? Like stuff I wish I knew, just like a whole series, right? Now you have the things of like you have Caffeinated Dead, who has like I don't know how many episodes, like they are in shorts of like things you might not have known about Guild Wars 2, and they are cool, but you don't watch them and learn much. Like you will learn like this one little thing or trick, and like maybe the first 10 episodes actually like teach you something, and then after that is like, did you know that there's this achievement in the game? And it's like, oh, okay, cool, like, you know, like it's like whatever. Right? Did you know that this guy is named after this? And it's like, oh, okay, that's a cool tidbit. It doesn't help you with playing the game more efficiently, you know, and like wasting your time on nonsense, right?
No, you never see an advertisement for a game and it's someone explaining how to min-max your daily routine.
Self-insert.
Nobody's going to care. While in other games
Shameless.
like OSRS, you have challenge runs, you have community events, you have hardcore modes. Hell, even OnlyFans, the WoW era, was basically a video game-based reality show featuring streamers. Where is that in Guild Wars 2? It's not a disease, it's a symptom of the proof right in front of you. Guild Wars 2 is coming up.
I agree with him on that. But OSRS is practically designed to be a solo game, right? You cannot play Guild Wars 2 solo. Like, I get it, Lord Hyzen does everything solo, sure. And honestly, you know, like he did like I think he did one of the raids. No, one of the strikes, CM, it like took him like 46 minutes and he soloed it or some shit. like shit like that. That's cool, but yeah, this game is not designed for solo. OSRS is designed for solo. Okay, the reason you had stuff like OnlyFans for World of Warcraft is because these guys have been playing World of Warcraft for 20 years. Okay, this is like, it's a cult mentality at that point. It's like, you don't have it really in any other game. They're just fucking cultists, brainwashed retards that think that Classic WoW is a good game. Okay, it's not. The only reason it's a good game is because people play it, not because people play it because it's a good game, if that makes sense. I know it wouldn't make sense. But basically, it means that's like, if it wasn't called, if it didn't have Warcraft in the name, nobody would play it, okay? People playing it because it's called Warcraft. If you consider what World of Warcraft Classic even offers, oh man, I'm going on a tangent right now. If you consider what World of Warcraft Classic even has as content, it literally, when it was released, had no content. It only had leveling. It has a talent tree that offers no choices in it, aside from like big mistakes. It doesn't change your game style at all. Okay, the raids offer absolutely nothing, 1 or 2 mechanics, and people think that, oh my god, this is so crazy. The reason you can do challenge runs in Classic WoW is because of how absurd, like challenge runs, hardcore bullshit, right? Because of how absurdly easy and stupid that game is. Same with OSRS, okay? These games are like, well, OSRS is just designed for solo play, so it's like, what else is there to do in a solo play aside from like fucking, run the same fucking game over and over like an idiot, right? It's like people who play Diablo 2 still, right? It's like, and doing speed runs to get to like, kill Diablo in 45 minutes. And it's like, okay, great. It's a nice skill you have that you solve the game, but it's like, that's not how people play games, okay? Like that's like, it's literally like an illness at this point. Like you're literally, something is wrong in your brain. And it's wrong in the sense that it's like, I wish I had that brain malfunction, It's like how like you see people with Down syndrome who are like extremely happy all the time, okay? I wish I could be as happy as them all the time, okay?
On 13 or 14 years old. I was 21 when Guild Wars 2 was released, and watching the sunsetting of Guild Wars 1 in real time. The community felt similarly. Even today, people claim that they had wished ArenaNet continued developing Guild Wars 1 instead of going to Guild Wars 2, and many people were lost in that transition. However, even more players were earned. Guild Wars 1, for all of its benefits, did not have a jump button, and that alone turned players away. Guild Wars 2 and its various systems also have mixed results.
It's not just that, honestly. Guild Wars 2 is just uncomfortable to play as a whole. Guild Wars 2 kind of is not an MMO. It's mostly designed to be solo play with but you're forced to have an NPC party, right? The weapons don't really feel very different, right? It's like, there's like, you play Guild Wars 2 because you care about the story of the world, not because it is a fun game to play. Now, I get it. If you played Guild Wars 2 when it was released, for you, it's like, it's an amazing game. Oh my god, it's the best game ever. Okay, sure. Yeah, whatever you say, brother. Fact of the matter is, like, it's not, okay? It's dated. You can't update it with like any more modern technology. The WASD feels like shit. Okay, the attacking feels like shit. Not like that it just auto attacks for you when you click a button. It just feels unresponsive. The movement feels clunky. Hidden walls, because there's like no jump key, so like everything is kind of like a hidden wall, right? Like there's a little like tiny rock in front of you. You can't walk on top of it. Like, there's so many dumb things in Guild Wars 1 that no, you cannot advance this game any further just because it is limited by these mechanics. And if you make the mechanics to fix those, like adding a jump, removing the walls, it would actually break the game because the maps are not designed with that in mind. You would have to redo all of the monsters, all of the maps, right? You'd have to release a brand new game if you just add a jump button to it. Okay, so like, yeah, no, like the game, it was good for what it was, but that's it. Like you can't advance it any further, right?
But the Guild Wars 2 audience isn't the primary audience of the next project. Why are the job listings focused on crossplay and consoles? Why are they using Unreal Engine 5 instead of a homegrown engine like they have in the past? Who are they making this game for? Well, the
Mobile.
same way that they didn't make...
It's so going mobile. They're so making a mobile fucking game. They're definitely making a mobile Guild Wars.
Guild Wars 2 for the Guild Wars 1 audience. They aren't making Guild Wars 3 for the Guild Wars 2 audience. Many people will transition. I personally will. I will 1000% transition to Guild Wars 3 and play it and continue to play it if it is good. And many people won't. However, all of the other homeless gamers that don't have a...
And this is, by the way, this is like in 5 years or so. Like if you're worried about Guild Wars 3 right now, it's like, oh my god, they're gonna release Guild Wars 3 and kill Guild Wars 2. Yeah, like 5 years in you, okay? Like, let's be real. Like, you got time, okay? They're just, if anything, they're just started working on it.
Place in New World. They don't have a place in Ashes of Creation, Final Fantasy, BDO, Throne and Liberty, or in World of Warcraft, who never clicked with Guild Wars 2, or they were afraid to start in a game this old, will try Guild Wars 3. And if it's good, they will stay. That is the goal. All of the discourse about the unannounced project and what it means for Guild Wars 2 is framing the entire question wrong, because with the end of Guild Wars 2 means something also happens. The end of Guild Wars was also bittersweet for many players. When Guild Wars Utopia was canceled and Guild Wars 2 was announced, it was a remarkably similar situation to today. Guild Wars 1 was unsustainable. The standard that they had put in place was largely the situation Guild Wars 2 is in now. They used to release new classes with skill sets and weapon types in addition to a whole new set of skills for each class, exponentially expanding the amount of development work required to continue the support of the game year over year. Transitioning to Guild Wars 2, they had their own challenges. They released this game with 3 game modes that needed to be balanced when incorporated, and then they incorporated development bloat through the boon system and through elite specializations. And
I think they also admitted that boons was their greatest mistake and they can't fix it now because it's like, it's just been too late. I heard this recently as well, and I pretty much believed it. Honestly, dudes, I don't know. I feel like you should take the loss and just make the system better, like more appropriate for the content you have. Because right now, the way the boon system is, it's like it is so fucking stupid that just remaking it would likely be better than the way it is. But if you remake it, you have to also remake some of the classes, right? For example, quickness giving 50%, that's what I heard. I thought it was 25%, I'm not gonna lie. But I heard quickness gives 50% increased action speed, basically. How do you play without quickness then? Right, now I'm not saying you should do it in the sense that, like WoW does Bloodlust. But how do you play without quickness now? Like, in my opinion, when I play right now and I don't have quickness, like solo play or whatever, and like I don't have a build that does quickness, which most of my builds don't, yeah, man, combat feels like shit. Right, combat just doesn't feel good without quickness because you're just so used to the speed. But it's like, well, that's why we can't remove it. No, that is exactly why you should remove it. That's exactly why you shouldn't have 100% speed uptime. That's exactly why you should have quickness and alacrity as like a cooldown you use when you need to do damage, when everybody's popping, when everybody's supposed to be popping off. But again, because the classes are not designed that way, how do you figure that out? Right? There's so many things that they would need to change if they even address the boon problem, right? Just how newer classes are designed, right? Older classes are designed as well, right? Just like, it's so many issues that it's honestly probably not worth the development time, right? But in my opinion, they should. Protection shouldn't be up at 100% time. Protection should be procced or used when you know big damage is coming, right? 33% damage reduction at all times just makes it so you have to bring it all the time because you have to design everything to assume that everybody has 100% protection, right? it's just like I don't want to call it domino. It's like chicken and the egg, right? Like who came first, the 100% protection, or the boss is supposed to do this much damage because you're supposed to have 100% protection? Which one's first?
And balance problems associated with those, and these things had to happen. They are
I say
a normal
fuck the
part of
chicken and fuck the egg. That's what I'm saying.
any game's life cycle. That stretch, that crunch, the trying to do something bigger and better than before has to happen. The open potential of a new beginning means anything could happen. Sure, it could be shit, and everyone is assuming that it might be. There are genuine concerns, but I believe that ArenaNet is willing to lose half of their player base to attract the hundreds of thousands of lost gamers, and I'm going to be there right with them, whether I am a partner or not. With that, I am proud to present.
Okay, before you present something, I agree with him. If Guild Wars 3 comes out, I would likely swap to Guild Wars 3 over Guild Wars 2. And my reasoning is this: usually the newer feels better, and it's really hard for me to go from the newer to an old iteration of something, especially like if it is correlated. In my opinion, if they're making Guild Wars 3, they should combine Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2 into one whole fucking story. Nah, that's too much. That's too much, man, because there's like a massive time skip. Like, how would you even do that? Maybe do the whole story like from Guild Wars 1 to the first pact with Logan and shit, and then Guild Wars 2, maybe? I don't know. No, that's just me wishing to like relive the good times. Honestly, no. Make a new thing, but like good luck. I don't know what you can do with Guild Wars 3 that makes sense. Orin becomes corrupt, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I cannot go back. Like once, like I love Diablo 1. I still loved it. I think it's a great game for its time. But once I played Diablo 2 and I had the ability to run, I did not want to play Diablo 1. It felt too slow for me. When Diablo 3 came out, I couldn't play Diablo 2 anymore. I still appreciate Diablo 2 for what it was. You know, it was a good game for its time. But in my opinion, Diablo 3 just felt like, I'm not saying the content is better. I'm not saying the itemization is better, whatever. The combat feel, and it has the same name. Diablo 3 felt better to play, more convenient than Diablo 2. And it's hard for me to go from a game that has the same name. It's a mental retardation, I get it. But it's hard for me to go from a game that has the same name to an older version because, one, the lore. I don't care about the lore in the older game anymore because I got the new lore, right? And second of all, it feels better to play, right? A major reason, but not a majority reason, just a big reason, you know, like maybe 20% of why I love shitting on Classic is because retail feels, plays, content-wise, everything has much better than Classic. Everything aside from leveling in retail is better, and honestly, I don't like leveling anyway, so I don't give a shit if Classic leveling is better. Who gives a fuck? Okay? I don't want to level, I want to do the content, okay? Leveling is not content. Leveling is a running simulator, an auto attack simulator. Fuck that. What's this?
Fall.
It's Elden Ring?
You are alone, child. There is only darkness for you, and only death for your people.
Nah, bro, don't.
Yeah,
they didn't tell me anything. I'm not presenting anything. Could you imagine, though? It would have been pretty cool, right? But I know that you've heard me bitch for a minute, and I want to address some things, but every good story is told in threes, so I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to end it here. I mean, I can't possibly just continue, right? Like, if I continued, it would fuck up the whole narrative. Like, I think it would mess it up. I know many of you guys want Guild Wars to continue on indefinitely, and frankly, I want to tell you right now that the worst is ahead of us. There is no...
I so agree, and I don't want to agree, but yeah. The thing is that's like when you make a game, you likely had a vision of like what the story is. It's like when they started making Guild Wars 2, they probably planned for the first, like the core and maybe an expansion ahead. And they had like a broad idea of the lore of what they want to go for, right? Like what they want to focus on. That was End of Dragons, okay? I'm not saying they had every nook and cranny and detail done up until End of Dragons, but they knew pretty much the direction they're going. And this is what I said about the end of an era. Like, when an era ends, it's like, how do you start over from that? It's like, what are you planning for next, right? And it's like, right now, it just doesn't seem like there is a plan, right? This is the same thing that happened with Final Fantasy XIV, right? Endwalker after Endwalker, everybody's complaining about Dawntrail. Why? Because who gives a shit about Dawntrail in this story when the Endwalker was so big? But it's like, you gotta start building it up from the start. Now, I do have faith in FF14. I had faith in Guild Wars 2, but honestly, bro, 3 expansions in, and I'm sorry, Inquest? 3 expansions after End of Dragons? We're now dealing with Inquest? Huh? What? Like, I know it's the leader of the Inquest. We never dealt with him, I get it, but man, I don't give a shit about these fucking mongrels, okay? About these fucking tiny little shits. Now, I get it, Inquest... No, actually, no, Inquest is all about these fucking tiny Azura assholes, okay? I don't give a fuck. Right, John Tier Wilds could have been, but honestly, kind of led to nothing. The last boss is a fucking statue, essentially. Like, he doesn't really do anything. And he also, like, wasn't even a bad guy, the last boss. He was willing to go back. Like, Mabon convinced him. So, huh? What? Right? Secrets of the Obscure, honestly, a bit anticlimactic. We probably could have done more about the demon world after Soto. We could have explored that more. There's no way the whole demon world, the whole demon part of the Mists is 2 tiny zones like this, you know? Like, there's like so much you can go for and nothing, right? And it just feels like it's like, oh, let's do this part next. Oh, let's do this part next. Let's talk about this part next. Let's talk about this part next. And it's like they have no relation to one another. And it's just boring.
Cope here. There is no more addressing things. We're going to finish off the VOE story, the new maps, and then it's time to move on. I wouldn't be surprised if Guild Wars 2 gets
And by the way, this is true for my... I had this huge complaint about World of Warcraft rushing Legion, for example. Legion, by far, my favorite expansion. Not even close, okay? Well, Legion 7.1, okay? Like, after they fixed the legendary bullshit, RNG, okay? That expansion had so much. Emerald Nightmare, but that was just a raid. We didn't get to explore it. Fuck me. Nighthold, okay, that was fine. That was a finish of like a massive story arc. That's cool, right? Nighthold was fine. It was Lords of the Fallen 2 that he was showing. Yeah, it was. Yeah, like, let's be real. Like, we all, like, definitely nothing that had to do with ArenaNet. What do you call it? Black Temple? Fuck, not Black Temple, Jesus. Temple of Sargeras, okay? Tomb of Sargeras, Jesus. Tomb of Sargeras, cool. We went to Argus. What is Argus? 2 zones, bro. Like, are you... Dude, it's a whole planet. How is it 2 zones? Why is there no... Honestly, Legion... I'll talk about that after, why it wasn't. I actually want to talk about Classic and all that stuff later, but yeah, I don't agree, but I understand your point. I don't strongly disagree. Like, I disagree, just not strongly, and I'll say why. As a Warcraft 3 fan, you know. Like, for example, World of Warcraft Legion should have ended essentially with with Tomb of Sargeras. Maybe have like one more raid in between, right? Another major raid or whatever. And it ended with us opening the portal to Argus. And the next expansion, not patch, next expansion should have been Argus. Okay? You could have literally finished Legion on us opening the portal to Argus. That would have been the climactic ending. And once you do that, you, like, for the events, right, you do more Legion invasions because now they can directly come to your world and there's even more Legion invasions and all that shit. I don't know, like fucking Galactic Defense, okay? You could have done a lot of stuff and then you'd have an Argus expansion after that, okay? but instead they just rushed Legion, and I was really disappointed. And honestly, that's like my point with what do you call it? With how they're doing story in Guild Wars 2 right now. The way they're doing story in Guild Wars 2, you're not really exploring anything. You're exploring a part of something bigger, and you're not really going for the something bigger. Right? Like the whole like Titans in Jontier Wilds, and it's like, okay, so we got to the zone where the guy was retreating. We fought basically a huge head that doesn't even move, but it just spawns trash for you to kill. And the hardest part of the meta, by the way, this is the funniest thing. The hardest part of the meta is at the beginning, because people don't interrupt and everybody dies, and you have to do him like 3 times. Yeah, the Titan is meh. The hardest part of the Titan meta, like that last meta in Jontier Wilds, is literally at the beginning, where the Gorsevald looking dude is there smashing the floor and people don't interrupt. That is the hardest part of the meta. After that is just a trash fight with no actual boss. Okay, and honestly, I didn't even know that we finished the meta when we finished it the first time. I was like, we done? I could not understand that we were done. There was no boss, there's nothing. Right? It's like, oh yeah, we finished our side, they finished theirs, and there's no culmination of all the forces fighting something. It was just over. Like, what the fuck? Right? That was Jontier Wilds. And then Soto, okay, like 2 zones and we don't explore the whole demon world. Honestly, finish Soto with us opening the gate to the demon world, and then next expansion is us going to the demon world, you know, like
Wizards of Vault Battle Pass releases, or some kind of Hall of Monuments thing in the future, or maybe even one final release. I have no idea what they even...
Honestly, if they revamp the underwater combat, yeah, there is stuff underwater for sure. We can do that. Yeah. The story ending was also what? Yeah, the story ending was kind of bullshit as well. Like, it was like 3 followers of the Mursat. Oh, I remember the name. 3 Mursat followers that became Titans. I don't know. It was so like, what? Fight underwater dragon named Poseidon. I mean, we're out of dragons really, but that would be Suwon. But yeah, honestly, they could, like, I think there is a problem with underwater combat, which is the same problem with aerial combat, is that it's really not comfortable in a video game. Yeah, we ran out of drakes. Basically. I'm sure there's drakes somewhere, but we ran out of the big dragons. The problem is it's hard to gauge the distance, and if you're up or down, if you're whatever. I feel like that's the problem MMORPGs have with underwater combat as a whole, is just gauging distance, and it's really annoying with because you have a lot of abilities that have a targeting, ground targeting, and it's how do you target the ground when you're in the air? Kind of problematic, right? So it's probably a design problem. That being said, you could do stuff like what Final Fantasy XIV did, and have underwater civilization inside of these air bubbles. But then it doesn't really address the whole water combat thing, so it's who cares, right? It's just an environmental thing.
Call it. They'll peel off a team to keep the lights on, but if I had to guess, it would be done. I know a lot of you guys have brought up that, one
thing that they could do, they can make you enter a vehicle, the vehicle is specifically designed for it. I mean, we have the, what's it called? The skimmer. One thing they could do, and this is probably if you want to make that expansion, say underwater, I don't know how I'm still talking about in the same video. This this video is going in multiple directions already. If you want to make an underwater expansion, you have to revamp all of the underwater combat. You have to remove or change specializations that have their special weapon. For example, Bladesworn underwater should not have the same abilities as overwater. When you change to the sword, right, to the Bladesworn sword, whatever it's called, to the gun saber. Okay, it has to have abilities that fit into the water thing. Same with engineer and all that stuff. So if you you have to change those aspects, because the underwater combat in Guild Wars 2 is actually mostly fine because they're all targeted abilities. But then you have to change utilities. You can't just be like, oh, okay, cancel the utilities, you can't use them underwater. No, change the utilities to be able to use them underwater, because right now so many useful utilities cannot be used underwater. Okay, instead of blink, okay, maybe it blinks to target or it blinks away from target, but don't just make it impossible to blink underwater, right? Like, just change how they work underwater. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
haven't even announced anything yet, and if they didn't announce anything, then they're like 5 years down the road. Like,
yeah, they are 5
years. It's gonna keep going on and on and on. You guys are a little late to the party. Like, the party ended right after End of Dragons. Like, they were. Do you think the shareholders announcement? People claim that that was a mistranslation. They weren't even talking about Guild Wars 3. That was this or that. You don't get job postings from a mistranslation. This thing is happening.
Well, actually, so from my understanding, the job postings happen after the leaked announcement. Well, it wasn't announced. The leaked conversation with the shareholders. That's when, after that, people were super excited for Guild Wars 3, and that's when they probably started really working on it. I don't think they were even working on it beforehand. They were probably like talking about, what do you think? Maybe we should make a Guild Wars 3, and then that was leaked, and then the people were like so happy about it. Then it's like, well, we kind of have to now because people are talking about it and they're happy and they want it.
Like, it's happening. The community is not nearly as stupid as you think they are. And people who have been playing this game for a long time, they can tell the difference. They can tell the difference between what is being put out right now versus what was put out in the past. And this isn't to say it's necessarily a bad thing. It's time. I feel like when I say, hey, stop talking about Guild Wars 3, it's not that I think that it's necessarily bad to speculate. It's that when you start pressuring the studio into trying to announce things out of cycle, it's going to be ultimately a bad thing. It is going to make it less likely to succeed. And what I want
I have a similar opinion to him about stop talking about Guild Wars 3, and not so much because of the studio, but because you're overhyping people to have an expectation for something that honestly probably isn't even close to alpha testing. It's like I have never, when you say like you're wasting your breath, it has never been more accurate to say you're wasting your breath than by saying to somebody who's talking about Guild Wars 3. Fuck, man, English is hard today, but you get what I mean.
Is their new project succeed
Ashes of Guild Wars 2, yeah.
Guild Wars 2 did. The same
Ashes.
way that Guild Wars 2 was significantly
AOG.
more successful than Guild Wars 1. But the problem
it is.
Guild Wars 2 is
And retail is more successful than Classic. Prove me wrong.
done. Like, the game is done.
I don't know why I'm taking these shits, on Classic
What are we
right
gonna
now.
add? What are we gonna get? New elite specs, new raids, new homesteads. Do you think there's space for that? Do you think there's more space for any of that? Do you think it makes more sense?
That's literally all we're gonna get. But here's the issue with, and this is like something that is a problem with horizontal progression specifically, because content does not get rid of other content, but there's only so much time in the day. Even if I wanted to do VOE, which I don't, I like really don't, like, not like, I finished the story, sure, but like I haven't been back since. Even if I wanted to play VOE, when am I able to play it? Right? There's so much other things that I would much rather do in Guild Wars 2. Like, heck, honestly, I don't even want to do my fractals, but I feel like I would need to do my fractals if I want to, make some extra money, because I'm running out of gold, aside from like, it's my fault for buying on gems, right? But it's like, when am I going to spend an hour and a half on the CMs plus T4 plus Rex, right? Like, oh my God, man, when am I going to do that, right? Like, I do my dailies because it's the most efficient thing, and then I have like a couple hours maybe to play, and I still have to do my World v World. I haven't done any metas in fucking like 3 weeks, right? I need to do my EOD metas because, well, I'm ready to craft 3 legendaries, but I don't have favors, so I have to do my EOD metas. When am I gonna do them? It's like I have to do them weekly, but I can't. right? And then it's like you throw an expansion at me. It's like, okay, well, when am I gonna play this expansion now? I still have to farm my EODs for my legendaries to make money because it's the most profitable thing you can do, right? Otherwise, you can't really do anything with your spirit shards because spirit shards are meant to craft legendaries. But if you don't need legendaries, what are your spirit shards for? Well, to craft legendaries so you can make money. Like, fuck, man. The issue with Guild 3 is that you need money to make it. Guild Wars 2 does not make that much money to the point where they would be able to afford to make an entire new game, but maybe I'm wrong. They usually would get the money from, like, the board, basically, right? It's not like they don't have to use Guild Wars 2 money to make Guild Wars 3. Usually, if like you work for a company and you made a product that makes money, that company can just like, you know, take a loan or like have more investors to work on the next project that would also be making money, right? I'm Jay from the shit from Ashes of Creation. I watched all the videos about the bullshit that Steven Sharif guy did. I'm worried for games in general now. You should just worry about early access and early access MMOs. Never ever pay for early access MMOs ever. Okay. I was one of the people who were saying I don't think Steven Sharif was scamming. Like, aside from the Steam part, up to the Steam part, I don't think there was a scam. But the more I find out, I'm like, yeah, okay, Steven Sharif is a fucking piece of shit. Okay, based on what I'm finding out, he's just a nasty human being. But yeah, up to that point, I think everything was kind of like, this is just a failed project by a guy who doesn't know how to manage a gaming company because he never did.
To cater to the existing audience now and then to try to capitalize on a new audience and previous player base to a new game. Like, most people like Guild Wars 2, or they have liked Guild Wars 2 in the past. A lot of people have played it and then quit. Do you think that they won't be showing up for a Guild Wars 3? I know people in real life that have played during the EOD eras and have quit. And when I bring it up to them, they say, yeah, if they release a new game, they're definitely going to buy it. They're definitely going to try it out. A significant number of people who have never played a Guild Wars game.
Dude, honestly, if they make Guild Wars 3, which I don't like talking about it, they need to make it as smooth and impactful as World of Warcraft. In my opinion, that game just has one of the best combat feels in any MMORPG. And they need to somehow make their combat feel more impactful. A lot of the stuff in Guild Wars 2 feels really, especially Virtuoso, aside from F1 and F2, and some greatsword skills, really doesn't feel like it's impactful. Spear does a lot of damage, it doesn't feel like it does a lot of damage. Does that make sense?
Will try out the new franchise or enter into the franchise. It's hard to jump into a
same with Harbinger, right? Take Harbinger, right? When your autos when you're in the Shroud form actually do a good ton of damage. Yeah, it doesn't feel that way, right? Like, I don't know what you can do, but it really doesn't feel very, like, there's no oomph.
It's 12 years old. It's overwhelming.
Ooh, it's really
especially
snowing
at the
today.
end of its life cycle. My previous statements about shutting up about Guild Wars 3 is like telling you to shut up about grandma's will while she's in hospice care. Like, let nature take its course and let's enjoy what we got right now.
No, I don't feel like those I compare to like Final Fantasy 14, where some spells do feel impactful. Like Dragoon, for example, feels pretty impactful in Guild Wars 2. Thief, or like, sorry, what's the name? Rogue. Oh fuck, what was the name of the rogue class? Ninja. Ninja doesn't feel impactful in Final Fantasy 14. It just looks pretty, right? Old Summoner did not feel impactful. New Summoner feels impactful, right? When you summon the primal and it does the damage and stuff, it feels like this damage fits, you know? Guardian feels impactful, but is not impactful at all. Like, it doesn't do damage, right? Like, not the Guardian, the Paladin, right? A lot of the Paladin abilities, it looks like they're doing exactly what the animation is supposed to make them look like they're doing, you know? Like, the animation and the damage, and like when you press the button and when something happens, all of that needs to like kind of come together to make it feel good. You know, when you press Templar Verdict on a red paladin, it just feels good. You see the sword coming from over your head like a holy sword and just slams the motherfucker, right? And you see the crit like 40k damage. Well, back in when HPs were lower, and you're like, yeah, that's fucking good, right? Like so it's like it's an ability that takes you to build up holy power for. So it's like, you know, everything makes sense for it to feel as impactful as it is, right? Like, for example, a warrior charges at you shouldn't feel very impactful. All he's doing is charging. But when a warrior executes you, that needs to be impactful, right? The impactful nature of skills will never happen in Guild Wars 2 because the game engine won't allow it, in my opinion. If you compare something like Monster Hunter, there should be weight and inertia, and the action should cause an effect. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? A lot of the abilities in Guild Wars 2 don't feel like they have the impact. Look at this ability, right? For the Virtuoso, right? This thing does a shit ton of damage, but it's a lot of small blades, right? This doesn't feel very impactful for the damage that it does. Plus, a very shitty spell unless on any monster aside from like bosses because they fucking move, right? 5 on the sword. By the way, 5 on the like one-handed sword 5 does a lot of damage. Like you crit 12 to 20k with this, okay? It does a lot of damage. You don't even see that you're doing that damage. Because it spawns, so it's like if, let's say the boss is the summon here, right? It spawns an illusion over here that basically, like, I think it charges or throws a blade, and then it's like, ting, ting, damage, ting, that's it, right? And it's like, that does not feel impactful, but it does a shit ton of damage, right? Meanwhile, Greatsword 4 feels good. You're throwing a massive spinning great sword at the target, it slices them, and then 2 more or 1 more, whatever, if you have the talent, image charges through them with a great sword, right? Not charge, but like spins through them, and you're like, yes, that feels good, right? The Greatsword 5 feels impactful for what it does. It pushes targets away. The animation is nice and smooth, and you can see like the wave that it pushes away, and like the monsters fly back. Should it do a lot of damage? No, it's a CC and it feels like a CC, right? The Greatsword 3, in my opinion, does a lot less damage than what it should do. It's a massive sword coming out of the ground and it just doesn't do enough damage, right? The Greatsword 2 feels exactly as it should, especially when it bounces around. Right? Bing, 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 right? A bit of ping pong there. Pinball, right? That feels good. But pretty much those are like the only weapons, except pistol. Pistol on Mesmer also feels pretty damn good. The sound, the animation, you know. You wanna know what my personal issue with this game has become? Is that the game is too flashy. It has too much shit going on, too many effects, and too many colors too often. Honestly, because I usually stream the game, I think my particles are a lot lower, so I can't relate too much. I understand what you're saying. It didn't bother me too much. I think it only bothers you, especially when there's elementalists nearby, because they keep fucking swapping auras. My biggest problem is when bosses are the same size or very similar size to the character. Usually the highest bosses, like they're humanoid, are sizes of Norns, and that does not feel good, especially because they live forever. Yeah, okay, yeah, fair. World v World Zerg, like Zerg as a whole is a problem regardless the game, even if the game was not flashy at all. I mean, have you played Bannerlord? Okay, what is it called? Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, okay? If you watch a Zerg, like a massive Zerg, like there are no effects in the game at all.
Now,
okay?
let's get
there are no effects. It's literally like medieval bullshit. If you have a Zerg versus Zerg, bro, you also can't see what the fuck is going on. You don't know whose sword is attacking you or anything like that, right? It's like Zerg is a problem as a whole. PvE when there are 5 ritualists and all the shit on the floor is green. Yes, I agree with that. I mean, Wells as a whole is problematic. I was doing Bone Skinner. Ritualist put all the green shit on the floor. You could not see the puddle amount. Okay, yeah, that is a problem. Okay, that I would give you. That is a problem.
Excited for what's coming next, but when the time comes, Guild Wars 2 is never going to be like it is right now. The same way Guild Wars 1 never returned back to the way it was back in the day. That's all I'm trying to say. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, pretty much agree with him. Like, but again, this is the problem is being able to navigate yourself after the end of an arc. That is the biggest problem, right? And man, I really don't want to say this because I hate complimenting Blizzard, but I think Blizzard has done a pretty good job of maintaining constant movement forward regardless of the arc that ended. The only time they fucked it up, in my opinion, was Kata and Mop. Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria felt really out of place, but Warlords of Draenor, I mean, aside from lacking content, you know, Warlords of Draenor felt like a nice continuation to the World of Warcraft. Legion, definitely a continuation. BFA, like, story-wise, definitely a continuation. Shadowlands, we ignore that existed, okay? And then again, we had Dragonflight, which again it is a continuation, but like, who gives a shit about Disney dragons? And now they are building, but it's also building into this new arc of Void Wars, essentially, right? And Azeroth. So it's like they always have they keep their arcs smaller, but they are consistent, and there is like a feel of moving forward. And if they miss, like for example, Dragonflight, in my opinion, was a miss in terms of story. It was great in terms of content. I think the raids were pretty good. The Mythic Plus dungeons, aside from like 2, were overall pretty good, right? But it's like it always kept going forward. So even when they super fuck up, it's not that like they fuck up on one thing, but the other things kind of make up for it, right? And then you had Shadowlands, which was like overall a fuck up, but the dungeons were good. I think the dungeons were good.